Welcome in, guys. WagerTalk.com. Kevin Dolan, Steve Merrill. I'm Joe Ranieri. We're taking a look here at a pretty classic matchup here this weekend with BYU taking on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. 7:30 Eastern Time kickoff here. And Dolan, let me start with you here with the old Irish. Have they figured some things out here? Are you an Irish believer?
Every single week, Joe, you know that, all about the Irish. And to be honest, look, all jokes aside, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but I like the Irish again on this one. And look, it's just BYU's play for me. I was really disappointed in their performance against Oregon 3 weeks ago. Before that game, both me and Brian Leonard covered that game. And we talked about how we both said we trusted this Cougars team that bit more than Oregon ahead of that game. No plays officially, at least for me, but those were definitely our lanes in that game, as BYU seemed to be the more battle-tested of the two teams at that early point of the season. They grounded that double overtime win against Baylor the week before, but they were absolutely hosed down by the Ducks in that one. Put up just 61 total rushing yards on the ground. They were out-yarded through the air by a mammoth 4 yards per play average as well. So, when this team have stepped up this year, they've really come up short. On top of that, they allowed 22 first downs against Wyoming 2 weeks ago. They gave up almost 400 yards of offense and needed a second half rally to see out one of the poorest teams in all of football this year in Utah State last week as well. So I'm just not sold on this BYU team at all this year. They ranked 48th at opponent third down conversion percentage this season. They're 69th on opponent first downs per game as well. And, for all the issues the Irish have had this season, that loss to Marshall probably being chief among them, they have stepped up when it's mattered. They gave the Buckeyes a hell of a game up in Columbus for 3 full quarters basically before fading down the stretch. They came out on top against North Carolina by double digits as well, on the road as outright underdogs as well. And they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game also. So the Irish have won each of the last 3 meetings against BYU by an average of 13 points per game. I expect that to continue here on Saturday as well, as, even without that South Bend home crowd to cheer them on here, they should still have more than enough to cover in Las Vegas here against the BYU team who, as I said, I just really haven't been impressed by all that much this year. I made this game closer to 6 personally. So, yeah, give me Notre Dame here, Joe, minus the points for Saturday.
Shocker, Merrill. He's going with the Irish. We got a BYU ranked team going against a non-ranked Notre Dame team, but Notre Dame is the favorite. So which team shows up here, do you think, Merrill?
Yeah, contractually, I think Kevin Dolan has to pick the Irish every week, or WagerTalk cuts him off. I didn't read it. It was in the contract was written in Irish, so I couldn't read it. Actually, I could read it, but I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, this game, of course, is in Vegas, so it's a neutral field. I think both teams will travel well. I mean, obviously, BYU is a little bit closer, but you got to figure this is a big-time vacation getaway spot for Notre Dame fans. I would actually guess Notre Dame might have a little bit of a crowd, but we'll call it neutral field for sure. Injury-wise, this might be healthiest the BYU's been in a while. You keep in mind they had that big top 25 game back in week 2 on September 10th against Baylor at home. And I remember that game. I did it for my top 25 video here on WagerTalk TV. I mentioned that my power ratings favored BYU by 8.5. The line was only 2.5. I stayed off that game, though, because BYU was without both of their starting receivers. And 26-20 cover, a little fortunate because that was an overtime winning cover. Then they went to Oregon, as Kevin was referencing, did not look good at all, lost 41-20. You can maybe say that was a little bit of a hangover spot, shorthanded off the overtime win. But they have not covered since. In fact, they're 0-3 against the spread their last 3 games overall, despite beating Wyoming and Utah State, kind of lackluster 12 or 14 and 10-point wins as over 3 touchdown favorites. So this is a huge step up in class. And the only time they haven't been a double-digit favorite this year, they lost outright by 21, as I mentioned, at Oregon, and they needed overtime to win and cover against Baylor. So they haven't stepped up in class well. The question is, are they a little bit healthier now, maybe at receiver? I think they are. The bigger question, though, is how good is Notre Dame? On the surface, that 11-point loss at Ohio State in week 1 probably isn't looking too bad. They covered that game. Ohio State's a really good team. I'll give also Notre Dame a little bit of a pass for that bad effort against Marshall in week 2 when they lost outright as a 3-touchdown favorite. I think you could say that was definitely a hangover. Didn't look great against Cal, though, either. They finally got the cover against North Carolina a couple weeks ago, and they get the bye week coming in. So scheduling-wise, it's a good setup for both teams because BYU, by the way, played the Thursday night game last week. So that's another reason they're getting a little healthy. They have the mini bye. Notre Dame has that full bye week. So it'll be interesting to see if they fix some of their problems at the time off. Offensively, they've been very mediocre this year. They're averaging just 5.4 yards per play. BYU's been a pretty good defensive team. But I do think Notre Dame has the better defense overall in this game. Definitely should shut down the run. Total's around 53. It's a pretty low total for modern college football, but might not be low enough. I could see both defenses, especially with the week off to prepare, being ready to roll in this game. All
right, should be a good one. BYU, Notre Dame, guys. Make sure you're visiting both Steve Merrill and Kevin Dolan over at WagerTalk.com. Both are locked and loaded, ready to go here in this, week number 6, if you can believe it, in college football. Visit Merrill, visit Kevin Dolan. Do it today, guys, and let's cash a few tickets this weekend.